All right, the party lines are being drawn in Washington's budget battle behind closed doors, we should say. President Obama meeting with Democrats today, Republicans tomorrow. How do you slash $14 trillion in debt, America? Democrats apparently want taxes back on the table, and Vice President Joe Biden leading his own bipartisan group, the so-called Gang of Seven. He says they are starting to make a little bit of progress.
We had a really good discussion. We have set an agenda for the next meeting, and we're making real progress. Again, whether we get to the finish line with this group is another question.
Well, how far is that finish line? It's $14 trillion down the line. How are you, Senator? Jeff Sessions is the Republican ranking member on the Senate Budget Committee. Good morning and welcome back here to America's Newsroom. Is this true? The consensus among Democrats is 50-50? To eliminate $4 trillion over 10 years, 50% in cutting spending and 50% in raising taxes?
Well, I think the Hill magazine today was correct to say that was a real lurch to the left. It was a victory for the big spenders in the Democratic Party. I think Senator Conrad would have had a more responsible budget, but that's not going to be well received. I think even among some Democrats, the Deficit Commission appointed by President Obama recommended $3 in cutting for every one increase in taxes. 50-50 tax increase to modest spending reduction is not sufficient.
So this is even over and above what the president suggested about a month ago. You say he was 3-1, and now they're 1-1. Okay, so they're starting to even up. The problem is, I think folks like you and John Boehner and Mitch McConnell, they've all said that if you want to raise new taxes, you can forget about that. That's where the rubber's going to meet the road.
American people do not favor more taxation. They believe we need to get our house in order first. They believe we need to establish that we can contain spending, and we'll do so before we ask them to give any more to Washington. The balance we need to strike is a balance between Washington and the American people. The American people need the relief, not big spenders in Washington.
Well, have you seen the Democrats' budget?
I have not, and I'm disappointed at that. We thought we would have a budget committee meeting to mark up the Democratic budget all week. The Republican House has produced an outstanding long-term budget that gets us on the right path. The Democratic Senate has a responsibility to show its colors, to show its budget. So far, they've refused to do so. All we've heard is this one-to-one spending and taxes, and we've heard that through the media.
You think they have
one? I don't
think
that's healthy. I think we need a more public process.
Do you think they have one, Senator?
I don't know. I think they're in disarray. Frankly, I believe the Democratic Party, with the big spenders that seem to be in control, are unable to produce a budget that puts us on a sound financial path, unable to produce a budget that American people will support.
I apologize for the interruption. Why would that be, do you think?
Well, because they're out of sync. I mean, their view is a bigger government. They believe in more taxes and more government. The American people rejected that in the last election. I think that's the vision of America that most of us hold dear, and I intend to advocate for. So we just, I think, have a different vision about what the future of America should be.
Yeah, that debate continues. Quickly, you meet with the president tomorrow. What's your message?
I think he has failed fundamentally in looking the American people in the eye and telling them why and how serious our condition is and why we need to make some changes in what we're doing. If the president won't tell the American people that we're in a crisis and we need to reduce spending, then I think it makes it hard to ask people to sacrifice, which we're going to have to do.
Well, Senator, thank you. We'll watch and we'll see what comes out of that Democratic meeting today with the president. We'll follow it tomorrow as well with you and your Republican colleagues. Jeff Sessions, thank you for your time.